This is a wonderful opportunity for all of us to come together and listen to the experts, the practitioners, and the consultants who would be able to tell us how to go about creating the right environment for engaging customers, or to create the right environment for customer engagement, whichever way you call it. I'm calling it like this because we've got a set of people who are available here. We've got Sushil from Manyavar. His business normally starts after customers get engaged. So, it's an important part of what happens then, and it's not a very easy thing to do, because when you are talking to customers who got an occasion in their house, and if you want to be consistently giving them the right kind of service levels, it's not simple. We've also got Sreekanth with us. Sreekanth, of course, is from Shopper Stop, a place from where, which is own alma mater for that matter, and it's a place where various brands come in. It's a place where various kinds of customers come in, and it's a place where customers have very high expectations from the store. Uh, they've also got lots more expectations now in an omni-channel world. Vinay, Bhartia, we've already listened to part of what MessageBird can offer, and I believe that Vinay can help us in going through this understanding of what customer engagement is and how technology and the services can really work towards making the right environment for us. Samir, of course, is coming in with a whole lot of experience. I mean, Accenture is no small name. All of us would want to do anything interesting for our businesses would now want to make sure that we work with somebody like Accenture to try and enhance our abilities towards creating the right environment in whichever businesses that you are in. And I therefore welcome the four of them. I do have to tell that I get a chance to now become a customer amongst all these people, because one, I'm going to listen and get to know lots more from each one of them. Two, I also would like to present the customer view wherever I can. Uh, just each one of us every day goes through customer experiences as customers, definitely. In the morning, I went for a walk. I was coming back and I was thinking, I do need some breakfast before I go off to my work. And the first thing I did was to be able to go online, get onto one of the food delivery apps, order for my food about 15 minutes away from my house. When I reached the house, 5 minutes post I reached the house, because it was timed so well, the man had come in with this bag of goodies in his hand. I will not say what I ate, but the important part was he came in, he thanked me for the tip that he got online, and he also asked me to rate him for the services that he rendered, gave the whole thing in a jiffy and went back. That's what we are accustomed to. Food service, predictability, and that ability for that person to come in, thank me, do whatever it is that he was supposed to do, and for me to remember his name was easy. I've also been trying to sell a house in the last 2 days' time. And in that, I've gone through a different experience. One is an international bank. It's got offices all across the world. One of the very renowned banks, really a bank that's been there for years together. And all that I need is an NOC from the bank, where I have already got money in the bank. I've already got a loan from the bank, and the money and the loan has to be adjusted because it's a smart loan, and they have to give me an NOC. I've gone to the bank 3 times so far. I've still not got the NOC in my hand, and money is still lying with the bank. This is one. And they are not willing to do everything physical online digitally. So I'm kind of vexed there. I've also been communicating with a very large real estate player, because that's the house that I'm going to sell. And that player has sent me to 3 different places. One is a facility management service. Two is the project management office. Three is the head office, again to get one NOC so that I can go and register a document. Now, this is unfortunately the way we are. And my expectation as a customer has got completely beaten down. Last week, I went to Bangalore to register a property. And there, the registration office, I had already got all the details. I was in and out of the registration office in exactly 10 minutes time. So this is the kind of world that all of us are living in. Different people, different places are adopting different kinds of things. And I'm sure each one of you have got a different method of understanding what you've all gone through. So without much ado, and with this thought in our minds that as customers, we go through this every day, I would like to now get some understanding from each one of our panelists of what is the current customer engagement model? What, in their opinion, is real customer engagement, in very short messages, so that we can then go on to the next question. So I would start off with uh, maybe with Sreekanth. So Sreekanth, what in your opinion is a good customer engagement, and how can we really define it?
Yeah, no, it's firstly, thanks Kumar, and thanks everybody for having me here. It feels great. I'm fairly a new joinee within Shoppers. I've come to India after a couple of years now. But yeah, very exciting times, and very apt question you asked. Um, for us, we've traditionally been a brick and mortar business, and most of you are already aware of Shopper Stop and as a brand. Um, but I think there was always this vision of how do we drive a whole multi-channel approach, and then over a period of time are able to leverage on each other channel's strengths and then provide a much more seamless and integrated experience. And we started calling it omni-channel, right? So if you just put it that way, so that's something which got really expedited during the pandemic time, and which was again very natural when we started seeing how all our stores, which were predominantly present in the malls, were all shut. So what is the distribution channel you've got as a business? And that's when a lot more focus went on to drive shopperstop.com as a business. And while we do that, we also started understanding or recognizing some of the other assets or core assets we have within our system, and which comes down to our associates, our people in the stores, our store presence, the inventory which is there. So it became about how do we leverage all those core assets, drive incremental value, not necessarily driving incremental cost. So with that, it looked, we went beyond and thought about opening up various other distribution channels. When I said that, it doesn't mean that opening up a whole bunch of marketplace models, but it was about looking at the various places where we are already present, be it social media, be it the various communication channels we have, looking at our First Citizen, which is one of India's biggest loyalty programs and one of the most coveted ones. So it was becoming a lot more crucial for us to look at all those assets we have and then start engaging our customers outside of our store network, because stores were just not there for us. So today, when I look at all of that, and even despite all the stores getting open and the vaccination drive at a decent speed, which is all good news, we continue to see the digital channels continue to expand and continue to drive growth for us as a business, which again kind of shows us the mindset, the paradigm shift which has happened. Coming back to the example you shared with the F&B side of things, which has really helped people adapt through online as a channel. So that is getting reflected across various other industries as well. And for us, being a fashion player, we have been seeing that over quarters and quarters since this pandemic started. So today, I think from an engagement standpoint, we like to behave as more of an omni-channel environment, where we don't want to differentiate in terms of our offering across various channels. We would like to provide a much more seamless experience. We would like to create a lot of these mechanics which allows us to provide a better offering to our customers, be it in store, be it online, trying to bridge that gap. We opened up something called a white glove service, and that was resonating what we do as personal shoppers within our stores, giving them that the coveted experience of being one-on-one in terms of helping a customer find that right product, right color, right size. So that's something which we kickstarted online as well, and that continues to grow. So there have been various other ways. If I go on with it, I think I'm going to take up everybody's time. But I think what is critical is to understand that for a business, being a one-channel business in such a competitive environment where customers have a lot into from a supply side of it, it is important to understand and reflect what could really work for you as a brand, which we are still in the process of doing. So I think we continue to see that engagement going up, and we continue to focus our energy is on driving a better user experience for our customers, and not rather differentiating too much between the two channels, but thinking about that one brand messaging, doing it slightly differently across channels, but providing a better experience.
Thanks, Sreekanth. That's well and aptly put. You've kind of given us a summary of what's happening. Sushil,
yes, sir.
I'm sure that there is a whole lot that's happened to your company too, and there is a lot that's
Yes.
been coming as learning. Would you like to tell us what's happening?
Sure. So first of all, thanks, Kumar, and good evening, everyone. So as she rightly mentioned, continuing from there, as you know, Manyavar, the kind of place we are in, where customer plan their visit to the store with the family, their mother, father, would be sometime with their fiance and all that, spending, quality time in the store, trying different outfits, touch, feel, because it's like occasional shopping. So this COVID scenario really made things very difficult for us to satisfy our customer, help them, closing the journey which they are otherwise used to. So of course, this omni-channel thing was in place, but not to the extent to which this COVID thing made it mandatory for every brand, not only Manyavar, but like Sri was saying, shoppers. I'm sure all other brands are really are also on it. So, in our case, beside the social and digital thing, we also try to, accommodate certain things which would otherwise have helped our customer in closing this journey by introducing book a video call sort of feature. When a customer, fix a video call, they're giving the slot either from the warehouse or from the store, and they are being given to the extent near real time journey by the salesman, run them through the entire product, all sides, which they normally see before they take a call rather than just a snap. And that has really helped our customer because we have seen a lot of good numbers there where people have booked video call. Besides then, as we have seen this COVID thing, it was started in 20, then somewhere around September, things have opened up. But there also, with the help of those book an appointment, and we have also introduced a digital journey within the store, where customer doesn't need to interact too much. They can just come and scan the QR code with their mobile phone without waiting for the device from the storekeeper. They can see everything from their mobile itself. They can just shorten the wish list and then hand it over to the wish list automatically goes to the manager, and they just bring in only the required stuff. So this COVID protocol has really made these things mandatory for us, and it has really worked. And even now, these things we have not stopped, and we are seeing this to continue for a long time because people are really finding it very comfortable to visit the store at their choice, or sometime opting for the video call, and maybe going to the store, opting for the digital journey, and then just coming back.
Quite interesting, because you're saying it's not necessarily that the shopping pattern has changed for COVID. It's almost a permanent change in the way in which customers.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
That's quite interesting, and I think many retailers are going to try and see what could remain, what will not remain post this pandemic. We'll come to Vinay, but before that, I first go to Samir, because Samir, you've been seeing a lot of customers at various places. What, in your opinion, are the key components of a good customer engagement model?
First of all, thanks for having us over here, and it is an absolute honor to be a part of this particular forum with this esteemed panelist. See, it's like in the retail world, post or pre-pandemic, there was always a saying that you need to be listening to your customer, correct? I would say that in the post-pandemic world, one has to be obsessed about the customers. Now, why do I say that? Because we have found that majority of the consumers in the last 18 months or so have reimagined their values and purpose and what drives them to purchase products and services. And in fact, 66% of them said that if the brands do not, basically, they need to take more responsibility in motivating them to live by their values, right? So I think, the saying that you need to be obsessed over your customers can't be, more true in the post-pandemic world. Now, are we convinced that, mostly consumers will buy exclusively online? The answer is absolute no, right? I mean, answer is absolutely no. But what we are certain about that we all will demand a seamless ability to shop when, where, and how we want to. And to do this, effectively, companies need to create the same quality experience across channels, whether it is store, digital, or social, right? So I think the omni-channel word is truly here. I mean, India has been a laggard, honestly speaking, when it comes to omni-channel as compared to the West. But it is truly here. Stores are here to stay. We got to listen to the consumers on how they would want to really shop, and we got to actually give them the seamless experience across various channels. I would actually stay as my opening statement, and let's basically debate it further as we go through it.
That's very nice. I think this whole concept of customer obsession is something that everybody may want to do, but I don't know whether they know how to do it, and that's where the issue is. And but there has to be that wanting to do for sure, because if that is not there, in the earlier examples that I gave, as a customer, I thought maybe that company is not wanting to do that. They're not even worried about whether or not I'm going to remain with them as customers, and that's a worry. And I love the way you talked about customer obsession. Vinay, as a company, you guys are a new world company, and as a company, your solutions are also very different. Where do you think the whole message is as far as customer obsession is concerned? Actually, customer engagement, but now that Samir has put that in my brain, it is customer obsession. So how do we do this?
Yeah, thank you, Kumar, and thank you, RAI, and for giving us this opportunity. Actually, I'm going to take both customer engagement and customer obsession, right? So if you actually see our philosophy or our North Star is how can we make or empower a business or a customer to talk to the business or brand as easy as you and I are talking. And if you put that as the North Star, you address both the points, which is really customer obsession and customer engagement. Now, if you really see the 3 or 4 examples which I shared here, Kumar, your real estate stint, food delivery, or going to a bank and asking something, or Sushil mentioning about video, these are all channels, right? What has happened traditionally, and we see a lot of that in India, the business decides the channel they want to be on, and then they force the customer to go into that channel in order to get the work done. Why can't it be the other way around? Why can't the business offer the channel the customer wants to choose? And then all the journeys then flow basis on that. And that's really putting the customer being truly obsessed about it and putting his engagement and his priority first versus I as a business saying, can I do this or can I do this or can I offer the customer this, right? Now, if you see the evolution, we walked into a store, we used to get SMS, we got email, we started doing WhatsApp, now we're getting video. But why can't a business have this all? If I'm a customer that cannot go to a Manyavar store, I want video, but I'm a customer that wants updates digitally on my WhatsApp. Why can't I get that? Why does it have to be one of the other? So I think research has also shown us, just to back on that quickly, that 89% of customers today, especially the millennium, want to talk to businesses, not call a 1-800 number or send an email and then wait 4 days and then get their query resolved. And this could be, Kumar, or everybody, is even during the discovery of a product, during the purchase of the product, and definitely customer service and support. So I think for us, and in our belief, we serve today close to 25,000 customers globally, in actually transforming this customer engagement journey from putting the customer first and letting him choose the channel and empowering the brand and business to be there. So I think that's really important. And obviously I can have tons of examples, but we'll let the debate start on that.
Quite interesting. I think you added one more aspect to this whole thing, and I think as retailers, I know for sure that some of the retailers that I speak to, they all want to keep this customer and try and see if, can I get to know what does a customer want? I mean, they tell it in their own language, but that's what they talk about all the time, right? So that's it's not as if they're not obsessed with the customer, because they know that their lives are dependent upon what the customer does with them. But the other part of it is about this whole customer centricity. And customer centricity, although you didn't use that term, everything that you talked about, to me, talked about customer centricity, right? Because you're starting from the customer, allowing the customer to talk about what they want, or to show what they want, or to indicate what they want, so that you can take it from there. And that's again been a big worry for many retailers, and that's been possibly the way customers want them to actually react to them, but they are not able to. I will now come to Sreekanth. Uh, Considering that there is this customer obsession level, and I take it for granted that you as a retailer would love that to happen, and taking also the fact that customer centricity is going to be the model that you're going to work on, where do you think your paths are currently? And what do you think is the question mark, if at all there is any, in terms of a journey towards that level of obsession?
Right. Interesting. So I'll try to share as much as I can, being a listed company. So see, I think keeping customer in the center of whatever we do, that has to be a fundamental. So while doing that, I think typically for a retailer like us, we need to understand at this scale of our business. We've been here for the last 30 plus years. For us, I think the areas which would help us to keep customer in the middle is some sort of mechanics we need to run to set up some sort of omni-channel setup. Because through omni-channel, we have seen in the past, we've seen in the West, we've seen with so many retailers out there who have had success. I have personally seen in my past life as well. So I think the way we do it, I'm just going to give you the recipe itself. Anybody can take it. So you have something called a single view of customer, which you should develop, right? It's absolutely critical. So you may have the multi-channel approach. You have your in-store, you have online, you have social media, you have a marketplace for that matter, or any other distribution channel. So you have various interactions or touch points with your customers, but somehow you're not able to collate that data into one place. So if you can create some sort of a mechanic, and today there are so many solutions or out there which is giving you out of the box features which allows you to collate all that data together. So that gives you a 360 view of the customer. So that's one side. Now the other side, for a retailer, this goes a little more specific. For a fashion retailer, it's our inventory. It's the stocks, it's the products, our merchandise, which is present across so many distribution points. We have 80 plus stores, we have our distribution centers. And the dropship model, there could be so many operating models out there. So if there is a way that I can understand and read all that stocks available in the various locations. Now think of it in this way, that you get a customer view, you get your offering view, which is your products, the crux of your business, and customers in the middle. So if you have these two things going, and this has worked wonderfully well across multiple omni-channel setups, especially within retail, it becomes a lot more easy for you to then have the viable options in front of the customers, and for customers to have that option to choose where they want to shop from, or where they want to discover their products from, or how they want to start their journey. So I think for us to truly make it customer centric, we need to create all kinds of tools which will allow that to happen. And for us to create those kind of tools, these two fundamentals need to be there, of how you're looking into your customer across channels, through which you will be able to create a better CRM, through which you will be able to personalize, through which you will be able to better target, and eventually you will get your conversions and your results. So that's what we're all after, right? To drive growth. So that's on the customer side. Now, if on the inventory side, at the end of the day, you want to make profitability, you want to make sure you have the perfect turnaround time, you want to make sure that you don't erode on your margins. Think from that retailer point of view. So having these two foundations has what I have seen personally in the past, which has worked wonderfully well, because it just creates the right mechanic for you to have the right systems, because you have all the raw materials ready. to process and to reach out to your customers at the right place. So if you have all of this going, then you can easily call yourself that you're very customer centric. Otherwise, saying customer centric is very easy, but then what are you doing about it to enable or empower not just your customer, but also your sellers or your partners? So that's pretty much how I think about it. So this is critical ingredients is what I would call.
Thanks. Sushilji, I have got a question specific to your brand because of the fact that all of us know that if you want to get the right kind of occasion wear, it's a one-stop shop. You can seldom ever go wrong as a customer. You get what you want. Okay. But thanks to the technologies that's available, thanks to the pandemic, is there something different that's happening from the fashion standpoint for a brand like yours currently? And do you wish things could be different, or do you think that things are going the right way?
Well, as there is saying, scarcity is an invention. You create invention when you really push for it. So I would say, these things, of course, this has really, as Vinay mentioned, why not giving all those, choices to the customer, what they really want rather than what you want them to opt for. So this also help us, going more into digital space than looking, concentrating on the physical space, which we have been doing for years. So from overall, this you can say this need of this COVID, which the environment which they have created, this has really pushed us also to create those. Experience for the customer, which they will really like to expect from a company like Manyavar, because ultimately the occasion, as you mentioned, the occasion has to be a big one, and people don't want to compromise on that. So as Vinay also, as Sri also mentioned, that this obsession about the customer and giving them a 360-degree view, being customer centric, knowing what customer needs, knowing what customers want, talking about when they are going for an occasion, maybe what they expect from the brand. If you know this beforehand, then you are actually in a position to offer what give the desired journey to the customer, and that really can be possible these days with the help of technology, where you have a CRM portal which tells you what the customer has asked for when the last time they called, what they have, if they have inquired about something, if they have done some posting on the social media or something. So when you know what the customer is looking for, you can really design things for what would suit them. So we are also, we are not lagging in any of this. We are rather trying to be one step ahead compared to what all the customer can be looking at in these pandemic times, to ensure that they celebrate their occasion, the festivals or the marriages in the manner in which they were doing right earlier also. So this is the target which we have in mind, and we are doing. We are not keeping anything at our end. We are just going all-stop shop for making it happen for the customers.
Thanks, Samira. To kind of take things forward from where you talked about this whole customer obsession piece.
Right.
If you were to give us 2 or 3 examples of how an obsession model can work, and also tell us what will enable it to happen, I think that could be an interesting part of how we learn from somebody who's already done it, or how you look at it happening.
Right. And I guess I will answer the second question first, and then I will give you an example, and it is very, very recent example that I just personally experienced. See, I guess, and I will take up with what Sri, who is a friend, dear friend, basically also mentioned. See, I guess, the way Indian organization is, and I'm slightly making a broader point over here. I think, when we are looking at, forget about customer 360. And we are in the retail world and we want to learn more about the customer. But forget about customer 360 degree. Is there a one version of truth within an organization? The answer is no, right? No, let's basically talk about customer 360 and what typically ends up happening. And I'll bring it and sprinkle it with the overall technology layer on what actually needs to be really done. Now, India as an organization or as a country is obsessed with what my customer is going to buy or is obsessed with what the future looks like. But what we forget is there is also a present, right? I mean, because of our astrology background, because we all believe that astrology is a great thing, we are all obsessed about what future it looks like, right? Now, I guess, it is great to basically know about the future, but it is more important to do something about the present, right? And where is the present? I mean, the information, the data, that is all there within the organization. Traditionally, how the retailers have basically gone about finding out expectation, it is like through a annual survey or a quarterly survey or a basically a half yearly survey to find out what customer want, where we go and take around about few thousand samples of customer and try to dissect and take that sample and overlay on the entire population. No need to do that, because all these data is there within all the organization. Important thing is to really mine it, right? And there is where the concepts like the data lake comes into play. Because what data lake does is, because all the customer data that is basically sprinkled around in various different systems that an organization has, it just basically gets it on one particular platform, and then it all depends upon what data you want to really mine, right? What it does is it basically empowers the employees of a retail organization to address or to do their job effectively, because they don't have to rely on their gut feel or their experience, which may not be and with the changing customer expectation, which may not be in line. There might be a certain gap. But when you have a real-time data available in front of you, and I am a customer care associate, or I am basically a person who is on the shop floor or basically on the storefront, I will do what is right for the customer, right? So hence, this concept around data lake is far more critical, because customers are talking to us, we are listening, but we are not doing mining it to really do something about it, right? So I think that is the point around what technologies can typically help you really get there. Now, addressing some real life example. Now, I was just basically going through a consumer survey, and and the way things are happening in India, and especially in Maharashtra. In 1 week, the lockdown is there. In the 1 week, in the other week, there is basically no lockdown. In the third week, there is no lockdown, but with a lot of curbs around it. Correct. Now, I guess yes, the retail shops are open. But I guess, there are certain times the curbs comes into play where the trial rooms are not. And there is where certain things like a digital avatar, if at all the trial rooms are not there, but I can have a, avatar or a digital mirror within the store, which can create an avatar for myself, and I can look and feel the product. It will go a long way in basically customer journey. And and basically whenever there is such kind of situation where the stress is there in the entire ecosystem, it generates a lot of innovation. And also what it basically propels is the adaptability for that particular innovation. And there are multiple organizations, startups that are available, and they are more busy at this particular point of time than they were in the past, because suddenly everyone is feeling the need to really adopt to these kind of avatars, which can really go a long way in consumer or the customer journey, right? I will we will talk more, but I will get it back to you. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, I think you've given quite a bit of food for thought, and this whole thing about being in the present. I think as much as we talk about future, astrology, etc., the ability to be in the present is something that's also spiritually really understandable. It's something that's told to everybody, be in the presence, So I think you brought that part into the context, and it's essential to understand that this whole thing about the data is already there. You don't need to go and do some expansive customer surveys. Is another thing that's really helpful for all of us. Before I go to Vinay for the next question, because you've kind of tickled the brain a bit more, I've got to ask you something. Is it easier for an online retailer to create a more customer engaged kind of a model than an offline retailer?
Well, why it is easier at this particular point of time is because they have done a lot of investment in the technology in the past. Correct. And I think, but I guess, when we are talking about an offline retailer, where in India, especially the growth has been coming in from movement from a lot of inorganic play to, or inorganic, what we call a unorganized market to an organized market where, you keep opening the stores and the growth will keep coming up. The investment in the technology will come, and very soon they will be able to actually compete with the online retailers. But having said that, and this is a piece of advice from my side to all the retailers and all the employees of the retailers, that not to be complacent when the going is good. Now, what do I mean with that? Right? Suddenly when the pandemic happened, the store got shut. There was huge uproar about that. What do we do? Our revenues are shut. Let's basically do something on e-commerce, and it is easier said than done. Correct. It requires a lot of thinking, a lot of infrastructure to really actually get it done. But I guess when the pandemic or when the lockdown got opened up, the sense of complacency started coming in, that I don't have to worry about this online business. Let me actually go the business as usual. Wrong decision to make, because what I have told as my opening statement, that in the last 18 months, the consumer's behavior has changed. They have reimagined their journey. So I think all the retailers should not be putting off their investment on the technology or the talent for the short-term profitability. For short-term profitability gain, because that is a dangerous zone to really be in, because that is a complete recipe for letting go of the customers that you really earned.
Interesting. I think for many retailers, especially in the offline world, they'd be willing to put in a whole lot of money for a new store. But when it comes to technology, I think they get vexed. They don't know which is the right place to spend, and whether they should spend anything at all. Should it be a short term? And I think you've given some kind of a indication as to where they should think before they put their money. And definitely they have to put their money. Again, that's something that they cannot escape. I do have to say that Mr. Dharmarajan from Tata Cliq was to join us, but unfortunately he was not well, so he could not join us. Otherwise, we'd have got a different view from somebody who started off with an online kind of a concept with them. I will come on to Vinay. Vinay, the fact is that your company is working with a whole lot of retailers globally. And I'm sure you've got a new set of experience that's coming in. So where are the retailers really finding the issues? Why do they come to MessageBird and say, can you help me?
Great question, Kumar. And I'm going to take a cue from what Samir said and slightly differ there. Implementation and understanding technology becomes, in general in India, a big barrier itself. And I think the first thing MessageBird does is breaks that barrier. You don't have to understand technology or have hundreds of engineers actually in your house or in your office or outsourced to do what is a lot spoken today. You have capabilities that we can offer, which is low code, no code, for example, single view, plug and play. So you imagine a journey, right? I see an ad on Google. I want to talk to the customer. I want to talk to the business. You can actually do now click to message ads. So if a customer on a digital or a marketing platform like Google, Instagram, or Facebook wants to talk to you as a business, you can actually move him from that platform into a WhatsApp or into a chat platform. It doesn't require technology. It just needs simple integrations, which are available today. We're just moving some pieces of blocks. Or you look at transaction, right? Customer offline retailer, customer buys online or wants to sell online, he can put a store on Instagram, wants to give an order update. Now, order update you can't push on a social media channel, but you have the contact information and you can actually put on WhatsApp. It goes back to what we started off saying. Why can't you have these pieces in place, a seamless integration, which is today possible within a few hours, no longer a few months. I'll give an example without naming the customer. We were doing an implementation, and when we did that, over a period of 3.5 days, he actually said it took us 20 engineers 4 months to do that. So that's the technology barrier or the mindset that we're breaking. Is it's very easy for you to integrate your marketing, where your customers are asking you questions, to your transactional information, and obviously service and support. Now, if you actually look at it differently, you have a store, 10 people walk in, you know that every day you're going to get 10 and you're going to have 2 attendees to attend to that. Digitally, you can't control that anymore. You could have 1,000 customers within that moment asking you questions. So if you up the layer of technology with automation, is okay, why can't I have 80% of my questions addressed without putting human resource behind it? And for one of the largest global logistics companies, we exactly did that. When pandemic hit in Australia and New Zealand, they had thousands and thousands of shipments every day. Imagine the query coming, where is my order, where is this? And a simple implementation of an bot across all channels, we reduced that volume by 70% down on the call centers, saving them cost. So again, if you break down to this technology piece, it's not only the ease of implementation, is it helping me reduce my cost? Is it creating operational efficiency for me? And at the end of it, back to the core is, yes, my customer, is he happy? Yes, he is going to be, because now he doesn't have to follow or go anywhere else.
I think the indication that I'm getting from you is that one doesn't need to really spend a lot of money to try and get something going. It's important for retailers to know what it is that they want, and once they know what is the purpose that they want to really go towards, it's possible to kind of integrate and work with various people to know how they can really go through that journey.
Yeah. If I may add, Kumar, sorry, you don't even need to spend. It's more as pay as you go. So you scale and you pay like cloud services. So you're not like saying, okay, if I'm a small retailer, one store, I need to spend the same as a 500 store retailer. So you set up your channels, the cost is same across, but then you start paying as you go, depending on the level of engagement you do on the channels. So it's as simple as that. So the pressure of cost of implementation of technology is now nullified, and it's fair play for all sizes.
I have to ask this to Sreekanth. Sreekanth, there's a lot of social media activity that's happening all across, right? And customers seem to love social media. Now, it can be a boon or a mess. Now, what is your view on what's happening on social media? How are you trying to ride this horse, if I may call it that? And what is the future there?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's an untamed horse, so it can cause difficulties. So see, it's again very early days for us. Looking at social media. Traditionally, we have been doing it. Let's say the couple of posts a day, doing some influencer affiliate network kind of programs and tutorials for our beauty. So there's been a fair bit of things which we've been doing, but I think as Vinay pointed out, MessageBird, what they do, and I have used MessageBird in the past as well during my time in Jakarta. I've used their product. So we also have similar products, so which further helps us to create elements of social listening. I think that is something which is really coming up now, because you have a decent size of following happening across your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and all these channels, which then creates a right medium for you to communicate what you have to say. Because during the pandemic time, this was very important medium for us to communicate about our store closing, store opening, creating more awareness about the .com business and the rest. So we have been seeing that. But I think what is the additional bit which is happening for retailers is not just the Facebook ads which people spend from a performance marketing standpoint to drive traffic, but social media needs to be one of your single biggest channels today which would drive your organic and direct traffic. And that is something which is important for businesses to drive sustainable and scalable business going forward. And that's something which we are also focusing on to ensure that how do we make sure that we target the relevant audience by using the tools which are available within Facebook, let's say, where you can geofence your communication and try to target your customers as per the messaging you have or based on the vicinity of your nearest store. So there's a lot of these mechanics which are today available, which again doesn't take a lot of time to understand. And the marketeers are also evolving today, getting their grasp on social media for that matter. So again, early days, I would say, but I think it's also time to realize how important it is to have a right monetization method on social media without doing a little too much, because things can go wrong. It can go viral. So you have to manage the sentiments quite well. So yeah, there is no easy way out. It does require a lot of patience and a lot of learning on the go. But yeah, social media is definitely one of the very important channels, just from a communication standpoint, from a commerce standpoint, as well as to create your more brand loyalty standpoint. So there's a various facets of social media which one needs to tap into. But then yeah, one has to be absolutely careful and understand how we continue to empower our customers using this channel, but not playing around on the sentiment side, which also has terribly gone wrong with some of the other players, which I don't want to mention here, but I'm sure you're all aware of.
Very interesting. I think we've got a question from the audience, and that's also very, very telling question, because they are asking, automating communication, especially after sales service, removes human touch from the interaction. Now, this is the statement, right? How does one achieve a fine balance between providing human touch and yet achieving efficiency of automation? Now there seems to be this thought of human touch or automation. Is it either or? So one of you can answer. I can see Vinay already kind of ready for the question. So maybe fastest finger first.
So, thanks, Kumar. Sorry, this is the challenge, and this is the question we get thrown at day in, day out. And that's why I was very keen to jump in and give an answer. I think it's the simplicity of understanding the customer's P0, or customers P0 requirements. And you have use cases which are redundant, which are in terms of where is my order status, reschedule, payment, account status, and so on and so forth. Pieces of information like this can absolutely be automated. But let's go one step further. I have an issue, a complaint, product didn't reach. We've seen businesses and help businesses automate a lot of that. Then you actually come into where do you go? So you can go into live or human interaction, either based on a chase, a sale, upsell, cross-sell, critical issues, and those can be tagged. And you have tools today called, with AI and ML, which you can actually recognize the intent of an incoming message. And basis on that, actually decide, okay, this is not a critical complaint. I would let automation take care versus this. And then to Sushil's point, you have the added value today of video. So you have today the flexibility to actually move from pure automation to live chat, chat-based, to audio and video, actually just by keeping it simple. What are my critical issues as a business that I do want to talk to the customer, whether it's on an incoming, and what are issues which are my redundant 80% of the questions, and the answer will lie in that simple discussion within 10 minutes. So
we're almost coming to the end of this session. I do have to bring up some of the things that I've learned during this session. And then at this, I'll also give each one of you a little bit of time. It's like a rapid fire summary from your side. Absolute rapid, because it has to be like 0.1, 2, 3. That's it. So the things that I learned is about this whole thing around white glove concept, that I'm waiting to understand what it means and where it goes. I also heard quite a bit about customer engagement models from the point of view of customer obsession, customer centricity. And I think both these aspects are very, very well understood in various forms whatsoever. The need for being in the presence, again, it's something that resonated quite a bit with me. The ability to use newer technologies like video shopping assistants, which I thought was an amazing contribution thanks to the pandemic to all of us, at least as customers, and that come in as a big boon to some of the retailers, and various other things which I don't want to now dwell on. But having said that, if each one of you have to give 1 or 2 or 3 shoot points, what would you tell? I'll start with Samir, and then we'll go to Sushil, and then we go to Sreekanth, and then to Vinay.
All right. No, thank you so much. I guess, I will start off with basically, just making a one particular point. The technology is there. The question is how much the bridge, the journey that Indian retail organizations will have to do is how much to trust that particular technology, right? I mean, because there is a significant gap that I'm seeing between, the traditional mindset of really doing business and the new age technology that is there. And the reason it is not moving ahead is because there is a basically that the two entities are at a distance, and that gap needs to be bridged, right? But having said that, back to what are the 3 or 4 things that I would like to say. First is starting with businesses should see the customers as the compass, and build them into the core of the decision making, which will also mean that we'll have to redefine our operating models to work with the new digital economies, which is a reality right now, right? Number 2 advice is for the retailers. I mean, play to your strength. Now, many industry leading companies considered part of the traditional retail landscape are customer obsessed and agile. Know who you are, understand the purpose you serve in your communities, and think beyond product services, and that is required for you to fulfill your purpose to your customer. Number 3rd advice: make innovation an everyday habit, because your consumers' habits are fast changing. We need to basically adopt that culture of agility that Sri pointed out is very, very true. And number 4, last but not the least, lean on into your data, dig deep. You will find amazing, stories, amazing thing that you can really, that you can really do for your customers. Before looking at disrupting the market, first develop your fortress by learning more about your consumer, and then basically, go about disrupting the market over there. Back to you.
Wonderful. Sushilji.
So, well, as you said, we have to go. Let's go rapid fire. So, once we all agree that the social is the way to go for all future engagement. So there's no denying about that. But having said that, I would like to hype on 3 very important points from what I feel should be there as a customer also. The need for communication, right communication at the right time. So, people like Vinay are making this really possible for the company to, segregate your customer, what to communicate to whom, rather than, bombarding the same message to all the audience. This is one. And then making it convenient for the customer to, in the journey, pre-sale, post-sale, in the manner in which they want, whether it's a call or it's an email, social media, whatever. These 2 in turn will bring in a lot of confidence. So communication, convenience, and confidence. These 3 things has to be the backbone for any brand retail when they think of social, because it's a different ball game altogether, and we have to take care of these 3 things. So that's from me.
Thank you, Sreekanth.
Yeah, so not much left. Everything has been said already. And I second whatever Samir and Sushil have talked about. I would just add 2 points, simple. The first one, again, you have to be nimble and be agile. That's critical. And second is it's important we can always talk about great ideas, but it's important to have a POC done. And for you to do a proof of concept successfully, you have to be nimble and agile. So it's kind of related to each other. But what happens is, if you can really make that happen, you just get the right confidence, which you need from let's say your promoters or your board. They need to see that happening, even with a smaller bit. If something has gone great, then that just creates appetite for further investments to happen, to go into the right direction. Because sometimes what happens is that we always think about, I want to become the leading omni-channel retailer. I need to spend X million dollars to make that happen. And then there's a huge project plan. We employ people, we have huge agencies, we start working on it, and we may get bottlenecks. But how about we start with something very simple? We already have a strength, but if we can improve on a particular process, that creates confidence, that creates appetite for further investment. So I would just put that as a food for thought for everybody to start doing something smaller, which would create incremental value, and that will help you to drive the future journey.
Oh, thank you, Sreekanth. I think for years together, when I sat in business, the first thing that I used to tell is, can you exercise the horse that wins for you? And you seem to be all of you seem to be talking quite a bit about it. It's quite interesting. Vinay, yours.
Yeah, quick one. I think the only thing I can add is keep it simple. Treat your customer as your friend. Let him feel he can talk to you, because everything else is all just a follow on after that. And yeah, just taking on a lighter side, taking cue from Sreekanth, give us a call. We'll set your POC up and let you experience that.
Be smart, Vinay.
I do have one summation for this also. I think it's now this wonderful time where instead of being the people or the retailers who are speaking to customers or showing off to customers, it's now time for allowing customers to speak to us and to be able to listen to them and understand them fully. It's wonderful that technology can do that for all of us in this modern day, and we can really take up from there and do nicer things for our customers. So thank you very much. I learned quite a lot from each of you, and this interview was superb also. So thank you. And
Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Kumar. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.